Hi again. Welcome back to Thrive Thursday. Earlier this week, we talked about how emotionally unhealthy relationship patterns can affect our nervous system. Now, if you've ever found yourself walking on eggshells, overthinking conversations, scanning someone's mood before you speak, or feeling emotionally exhausted after spending time with someone, you are not alone. Those reactions don't mean that you're weak or that you're too sensitive. They often mean that your nervous system has learned to stay on high alert because it's trying to protect you and maybe it's noticed some patterns. So, today I want to share 5 simple and practical strategies that help your nervous system begin to reconnect with a greater sense of safety. Now, these aren't about pretending that everything is okay. They're about helping your mind and body recognize that moments of safety still exist, even when your relationships have been feeling difficult. So, the first thing is to notice before you try to fix. So many of us immediately try to push uncomfortable feelings away. It makes sense. They're uncomfortable. So we tell ourselves, calm down, stop overthinking, or you're doing it again. And instead of engaging with that narrative, it's helpful to simply begin noticing. So pausing, asking yourself, what is my nervous system trying to protect me from right now? Maybe your heart is racing after a difficult conversation, or maybe your shoulders feel tight after reading a text message. Instead of criticizing yourself for it, acknowledge it. My body is telling me that things feel a little uncertain. That small shift of acknowledging that can help reduce the struggle. Awareness comes before regulation. The second thing you might want to do is try a grounding practice. So, this is something called a pressure anchor. When your mind begins racing, bring your attention to a physical point of contact. So, a moment of contacting physically. So, an example, pressing your feet into the floor, resting your hands on your thighs, leaning back in your chair, noticing the support beneath you. Imagine you've just finished a tense phone call. Rather than immediately replaying every word, pause for 10 seconds and simply notice the feeling of your feet on the floor. This can help remind your nervous system that while the conversation may have been difficult, you are here, right now, in this moment, and are supported by those points of contact around you. And the third thing is when we've experienced ongoing relationship stress, our brains become very good at spotting potential danger, right? It's understandable. Our brain is trying to keep us safe. Now, the challenge is that we can begin overlooking clues that tell us we're safe. So take a slow look around the room, notice things visually. So the light coming through the window, a favorite photograph, a plant, or tune into sounds like birds outside. You're not trying to convince yourself that life is perfect, but you're simply reorienting yourself to the safety signals in your environment. Our brains need reminders of both danger, which happen naturally, and they also need reminders of safety. The fourth strategy is to spend time with people that you can just breathe around and be yourself. So think about those people in your life that you feel yourself with. You feel calmer after you've been with them. Who listens to you without making you feel judged. Healthy relationships help our nervous system to feel more regulated. Imagine meeting a trusted friend for coffee. You notice that your shoulders relax, you can laugh more easily, you stop rehearsing every sentence before you speak. You're really in the moment, and those moments matter. Your nervous system learns through repeated experiences of safety, respect, and connection. Seek out relationships that leave you feeling more like yourself, not less. Now, the final thing we're going to look at is after difficult relationships, it's easy to become focused on what someone else is thinking, feeling, or doing. But I would like to invite you to gently return that attention back to yourself, at least some of that attention. So you may want to ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do today that supports my well-being? Maybe it's taking a walk, saying no to something you actually don't have the time or capacity for, eating lunch away from your desk if you're at work, reading a few pages of a book that's been sitting on your nightstand, or simply allowing yourself to rest and recharge without feeling guilty. Small choices remind your nervous system that your needs matter as well. Now, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Healing isn't about teaching your nervous system that the world is always safe. It's about helping it discover that safety is possible. And that can happen one small experience at a time. One supportive conversation, one healthy boundary, one moment of self-compassion, one decision that honors your well-being or your rest or your recovery. This week, choose one of these practices and see what you notice. Small moments of safety, repeated consistently, can gradually help your nervous system learn that it doesn't have to stay on high alert all of the time. As you move through this week, I invite you to become more curious than critical of yourself, your relationships, and the patterns that shape them. Thank you for joining me today. Until next time, take good care of yourself. You got this. I will see you soon.